Welcome to another episode. This is JR, founder and CEO of Social Market.
Hey, my name's Leon Hitchens, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Social Market.
Yeah, we have another episode for you at Social Ledger Report. In this podcast, we talk about the last week's trending or hidden news that maybe the media didn't cover. So we want to make sure everyone is fully aware of what's happening on blockchain since everything usually goes really fast in this space. It's moving a lot. We have a couple of big companies here like Coinbase, which we'll talk about more here today, doing a lot of great things. So, that's kind of what we want to do in this podcast. So, to start off the stories, first we'll talk about Kevin Durant, who lost access to his Coinbase account where he had some Bitcoin. I think it's a fun story that we can cover. MetaMask is, releasing another token, so that's really cool, actually. I actually didn't know that. So, first time learning it here in live. Coinbase came out this week and pretty much locked in and came up with a series of releases and announcements, including their Basecamp, which is kind of this PR event where they announce different things being launched, and we'll talk more about that. And lastly, Robinhood launches Robinhood Ventures, where just how they allow retail investors to invest in stocks for the first time ever, they are now letting people be VCs, question mark, investors. So we'll cover that more here in a moment, which is all pretty interesting stuff. But if you like what we talk about, if you want to see more of it, please subscribe to the channel. It costs you nothing and it helps us produce more content. If you have any thoughts or feedback for what we should cover, that also helps. So let us know. In case it's your first time tuning in, we usually cover the markets whenever we talk about the episode. And we showcase Social Market, my company, for giving a little bit of a digest on the market, state of the market. Well, this last week, we've actually released a series of updates, and this is all on development. So what we're going to see is pretty much, what's going to be available at the end of the month. So this is what we're doing. You might, if you compare it to last week's, or even if you go right now to app.socialmarket.tech, you're going to see several different things. So first, we're going to have a lot more real-time token activity. We have all these different layer 2s and layer 1s like Solana and Ethereum. When you filter these out, you can kind of see, you might have some issues here with some of these tokens. We're still working on it, but you're actually going to see a lot of actual tokens in real time being updated. We updated our provider, so we're no longer with CoinMarketCap, we're with CoinGecko. So for instance, if you look for Pepe, you might actually get different token activity from Uniswap as the decentralized exchange with Ethereum. QuickSwap here, which we're having some issues rendering that. Uniswap as well. And then we're on the base. So you're going to get all these different token activities moving in real time between networks and decentralized exchanges, almost like Dex Screener. Except what we're doing is, a little bit more than that, where it's more than just the Dex Screener. So this is kind of like what social market is evolving into, giving you more larger coverage on token activity on chain. Aside from giving you the market overview, which it looks like right now is altcoin season. I don't think we've seen that yet in this while covering this episode. Or
No, I think it's the first
podcast.
time. And yeah, Ethereum's really like at 40, what is it at right now? It's like 4,500 roughly.
Oh yeah. So Ethereum, it's sitting at 4,400. My bad.
I wish 44,000.
Me too. It could happen. You never know.
Yeah, and if Bitcoin goes up a bit more, it could flip silver and other like market caps too, which is
Absolutely
fascinating. That even at 115, I'm kind of surprised that it's altcoin season when a lot of these altcoins are kind of sitting like relatively flat. Like Dogecoin is up. I think it was 29 cents, right? Or
One thing I'm
27
working
cents.
on is having like leaderboards on asset performance. So whenever users, I don't know, click on a
Yeah,
button
we
that
should do
I'll add
something like
somewhere.
that, like
Yeah,
the market cap tracker, like gold,
yeah.
like have it filtered where there's gold and Microsoft and Nvidia, Apple, like all of them. I love those charts where people are like, Bitcoin just surpassed this company's
Oh, you mean
market
like,
cap.
oh, yeah, I know what you mean. I like those too. They're really cool.
Yeah,
But
something
yeah,
like that in here would be fun because then we could just use the interface to take screenshots and post onto the channels.
there you go. So that would be the network effect that we're trying to do. So one more thing I'll showcase here, and this is actually Leon's first time watching it, is adding a wallet where you can either use your Google account to create a crypto wallet that is self-custody. You can create your own, or you can import your own. So you can create one, actually, if you want to go through the steps right now, Leon, we can do that.
Let's
Or
do it.
we can also import one right now. I made several just to build this. But yeah, so let's actually build one from scratch. So the way it looks is, this is kind of like the onboarding I built. We use Identicons here as your profile image. If you've used MetaMask, Rainbow Wallet, Rabbit Wallet, anything, you get your own pixelated icon that's unique to your Ethereum address. Here's what we'll do. This is our wallet. You can copy it, and then you can set your password to encrypt your wallet, which pretty standard. I'm just going to use a password generator. You guys will be able to access this account if you want. I don't really care. And then,
Maybe give us some crypto.
yeah, that'd be nice. So now you can reveal your seed phrase, which you already know what it is. As if you are familiar with crypto, this is kind of like your private key, which you do not want to share with anyone. But for demo purposes, we'll look at this. And then, yeah, that should be it. So you now have your wallet in the social market, and then the app will refresh. You can go to wallet, and this is what you have. You can fund with we're still working on the on-ramp, but you'll be able to do that. You can swap tokens. You can send or receive to yourself or to another wallet that you have, or someone else.
Um,
And,
is it
yep,
if I, and this is just like random questions. If
yeah,
I like if I swap devices, it's all still recoverable. Like kind of like MetaMask.
yep.
Like MetaMask has like a recovery phrase. What's the difference there on that?
Yeah, so as soon as you create this wallet, it's pretty much live on the blockchain, which means as soon as, you know, you have your seed phrase, you have your Ethereum address, because this is all in Ethereum for now. As long as you have your address, and let's say you forget your password, you can just wipe the entire account here, so the entire app. So, you know, I'm going to delete this wallet. You want to make sure that you actually have it, like your seed phrase. So, let's say I'm starting from scratch almost. I don't know why I did that. Whoa, you're seeing debugging in real time. Okay, so let's say you don't have an account, and let's say you have a new device, like you have this on a mobile wallet. So you can always import it to your web wallet, and then you can create a new password. Let's just say we'll use this one for now. I'm using a password manager right now. That's how I can do this. And I go to my wallet, and there it is. So that was a long yes, Leon, but I just
Yeah.
wanted to demo it to you and to anyone.
No, I like it. I'm excited to use it when we can dog food it ourselves.
Yeah. So now in the home page, you should be able to see your balance, and you should be able to do things with it. I'm
What
still figuring out the
chain
UI.
does it support?
For now, it's only going to be on the Ethereum mainnet, and hopefully, if everything goes well, on the Polygon and the Base networks.
Okay.
So this will be available on launch. So literally the first three networks listed here. So yeah, that's kind of what we've been cooking over the last month. Hopefully, without any issues, we should have it live by October.
I like it. I'm
Great.
excited.
Well,
We want
thanks.
to jump into the news then?
Yeah, that was a very long segment, but I just wanted to cover the app. Yeah, do you want to kick it away? Right now we
Yeah,
have
let's do
Kevin
it.
Durant.
Let's talk about Kevin Durant. And I wanted to talk about it because all the time you hear about these like sad stories. People have a ton of Bitcoin. They bought it at a really inexpensive cost, and now it's worth like millions of dollars. Obviously, Kevin Durant doesn't need to lose any money. He's well off no matter what. But
Right.
he said in an interview somewhere that he had bought Bitcoin at Coinbase, but he forgot his password and all that stuff. Now, this is the benefit of a centralized exchange. It's on the platform. Somebody can go reset all the stuff, get you back into it, and that's
Yep.
exactly what ended up happening. Brian Armstrong tweeted out, "We got this fixed. Account recovered complete." And I was just kind of like, man, this is a Good story for Kevin Durant. It's 650 then, depends, how much he bought. He could, have $1.8 million up to much, much more very easily. Just depends how much he was actually collecting. So this is where he said it. It was like
My
2014.
understanding is that you hooked him on Bitcoin very early. Is that true? Are you the responsible
Sure, he
party?
knew about Bitcoin, but I gave him a little nudge. Yeah.
You give him how did you give?
No, he didn't. He called me in like 2014, 15. We got on a call with our business manager at the time, who just like shut it down and was like, "You guys, like, stop."
Hold on. Go backwards. So you how did you learn about Bitcoin?
Just scrolling on YouTube, to be honest. Can't lie to you.
Same,
And then
honestly.
just seeing so many videos of seminars of people like this talking about cryptocurrency and how it's the future of the world. And I was always into like futuristic, new technology coming, how our world can change. And I felt like that was something that could be consistent and can last. And I mean, here we are now, 10 years later, we're still talking about it.
I lost him some money had we bought it at that point in 2014, 15.
Yeah.
But about a year later, right when he signed with the Warriors, Ben Horowitz hosted a dinner for Kevin for his birthday, and the whole Warriors team came. And at the end of that night, I was like, Kevin, I just heard the word Bitcoin 25 times this evening. And the next day, we started investing in Bitcoin. And fortunately, we've yet to been able to track down his Coinbase account info, so we've never sold anything. And his Bitcoin is just through the roof.
That's honestly probably best outcome ever. It's
Really
happy
is.
because you have that other dude. He's the one who threw it in the landfill, and then he just has not been able to get it back ever since. Like he
I
lost
think
it,
it's a
and
very completely different person or different, just an average Joe, who
yeah.
lost that. So I feel for that guy now.
No, I
He'll
feel
retire.
for him, but the Kevin Durant one's good, and I'm sure there's other people out there that bought Bitcoin on Coinbase, forgot about it. Even if they bought small dollar, it's $650, and they bought half of one, and they open up their Coinbase account or manage to get back in, and it's like, doubled, tripled in price very easily. That's crazy for anybody. So maybe there's some
Yeah.
hidden Coinbase accounts. I'm kind of curious how many Coinbase accounts are actually active, and then how many Coinbase accounts
Yeah.
that are like dormant, haven't been signed in for more than 4 years, and hold money. I would love to hear that amount of money and just kind of see from there.
I know Coinbase is a central exchange, which there's probably some laws there, or they have some privacy concerns as to why they wouldn't want to do that. But I mean, if you know what you're doing, you can always explore the Bitcoin Explorer sort of on-chain explorer, and you can pretty much see which wallets are active, which wallets have the most money, sort of thing. You can see Satoshi's wallet in real time right now if you want. I don't think it's in the realm of impossible, but I just don't think they might have a motive right now. Now, if we didn't cover this when it came out, but Robinhood wants to launch their own social interface. I don't think we covered that, right, Leon?
No, we
I'm not
haven't we
mistaken.
haven't talked about it at all, actually. But I actually think it's probably pretty big news.
Yeah. So what I think is, if everything goes well with Robinhood Social, which I think it will, because we have a whole dedicated r/Reddit community for that, which got media coverage in 2021 with GameStop. If that goes well, and maybe in the app Robinhood Social, we can see people's net worth or balances. I think it's possible for Coinbase to integrate some similar feature, which you can see their balances, other people's balances or net worths, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
that'd be interesting because I'm more like, the hard part is you can't tell the last time that that person signed in. Like, you can see the last time they bought something, but to somebody actually having Coinbase, like, I'm sure there's some compliance part, but I think it'd just be
Yep.
really, really interesting to see that data of like, hey, there's a couple $100 million probably just sitting there that nobody has touched in
Yeah, man.
years.
Yeah. And if Kevin Durant bought it in 2014, that guy's probably, depending how much he has, he probably doesn't even have to be in the NBA anymore.
That's probably true. He could have
Depending,
made, if he bought a couple $1 million worth, then that's crushing it.
especially, yeah. I mean, back then, he was with the Golden State Warriors where he was making a shitload of money.
Oh,
Well,
it probably
anyways,
all got taxed.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah. So I mean, I don't have anything else to talk about him as much as I, love NBA and love Kevin Durant. Um, you
No,
want to talk
let's
about
let's
Coinbase? I'm sorry,
let's
MetaMask.
talk about MetaMask. So MetaMask announced their stablecoin. We talked about it. It is now
Yep.
live. It's on their platform. Okay, so this is kind of their first foray into actually being a token and pushing that sort of narrative for them.
Yes. Real quick, it's in the Linea network. So if you use MetaMask, and if you're a little technical, you can change networks from whatever you have as default, which is probably Ethereum. You go to Linea, that's where you can get it.
Ooh, that's kind of weird that it's on a.
Well, I might be wrong, but it could also be available on the Ethereum mainnet. But Linea is better because low gas fees.
Okay, that's very
Okay.
fair. Yeah, I'm kind of curious because that's just like a it's just a friction point for people on that. I
Yes.
feel like kind of interesting on that. But the more like important thing here is that there is a conversation that's been happening around MetaMask for a little bit. Is there is a MetaMask token coming soon? Like this,
Okay.
this is not just their token. Like people are talking about like the fact that they're going to launch something, do airdrops, and kind of push this, and it's supposed to help with their decentralized tool set that they're building and kind of what they've been pushing. So like this conversation here, I think is the best
Will MetaMask
explanation of
have
it.
a token at some point, maybe in the near future?
Mass token is coming. It may come sooner than you would expect right now. And it is significantly related to the decentralization of certain aspects of the MetaMask platform.
Will MetaMask?
So it
Um,
it
I was like,
looks
who's
like
that guy? Oh, he's Joe Lubin. My bad. Go
yeah.
ahead.
So it looks like it's going to be something DeFi. I bet you they use their stable coin as like on ramp. They probably use it as like something to like store money, become more bank like. And then they do something with DeFi, just kind of like Coinbase has been pushing on. But this is really interesting because MetaMask being a wallet and building the technology for all that has pushed hard, but this is kind of their first steps into it. The stablecoin makes sense, but now having their own token will be really interesting. I think it'll help them raise money too. That's the hardest part, and including us, like crypto right now is it's a hard thing to invest in, and then also it's a hard thing to raise money on the flip side. And a lot of these companies are really pushing for like revenue, and oftentimes they're getting it through the token raises. Look at Pump Fund, look at what others are doing out there, because it's a hard world to raise and keep revenue coming in, even as a wallet where they have a ton of transactions.
We'll see what happens. I think I'm pretty excited whenever a big company launches their own token because people are going to eat it up. And that's usually a good opportunity to make a little bit of cash there, depending how much your risk factor is, how much you're willing to buy. But I mean, obviously not financial advice because I would never tell people, hey, buy this token unless you really want to know what I do. I'll tell you what I do. But I'm gonna buy MetaMask token if that's the case. Usually people make a lot of money with airdrops, especially in Solana. Like Magic Eden, it's this NFT platform. There's a lot of launches there, and people do just a shit ton of airdrops, especially like when they were first coming out. I have a friend who made a lot of money just through airdrops. Like he said in the almost four figures at one point. So it's free money.
That's
So
crazy. The airdrop
that's free
when they
money.
were really happening, it quite literally was free money.
Yeah.
Now they're a little like they've been a little less lucrative, and a lot of times if you don't time it just right, you get the short end of the stick. So we'll see. This could also just really help them like show that there's a market for airdrops again,
Yes.
as it's kind of like been quiet. Altcoins could really
It actually
benefit
has.
from this. Base is pushing on that. We'll talk in a second. Like the Zora's out there. There's a ton of token type things happening, but not quite in the way that was happening in like 2018 and 2019, and then through COVID.
Man, COVID time was kind of a crazy time now that I think about it. Like, I think a lot of us were more inclined being on the computer, being more tech driven. Now that's kind of faded. It's kind of good to see airdrops coming back. I don't know. I feel like we were more inclined with crypto back then because of the innate need or need to be in a computer since we're all pretty much at home. Anyways, those were good times in my opinion. It's good to see it coming back. Yeah, so we have a series of different things to cover from Coinbase. In this one post on Twitter, Brian Armstrong came out and said, "Hey, you know, we're actually locked in," and or shared a meme where the guy is like inclining into his chair, which is to show like, "Hey, I'm locking in," and then go figure, they released literally a shit ton of things, which all pretty exciting. So first thing that we'll talk about from Coinbase is they're doing on-chain USDC lending. This is Coinbase talking about earning competitive yields by lending your USDC. So too long didn't read. There's a new way to earn more from your assets. Lend your USDC and earn even higher rewards, all without leaving your trusted and easy-to-use Coinbase app. Lending is entirely powered by Morpho and Steakhouse Financial on Base. Steakhouse Financial on Base, that's such a cool name for crypto. I would have thought, okay, why is there a steakhouse on fucking crypto? Well, anyways,
I like
we
it.
are rolling out this integration to Coinbase users over the coming weeks in the US, excluding New York State, Bermuda, and additional countries. I think it's so interesting how in New York State this is not coming out because that's kind of like one of the crypto capitals in the US. So
It is, but also that stuff is it's like headaches dealing with like New York and some of these bigger states. You often see that on crypto. They'll exclude certain states to buy and sell. New York is often one of them. California is one of them. Illinois. I occasionally will see like a Texas pop up in there too. Texas is pretty like weird on crypto rules. And then Washington, like those always pop up, but New York is like one of them.
I think Texas, which is where we live, they are becoming more and more receptive towards crypto. Before they were kind of like, we're probably just going to do whatever the SEC does and says. So, literally not thinking. But now it's kind of interesting to see their pivot into crypto. Well, anyways, so here Coinbase continues. How does lending on-chain work? So here it pretty much tells you. I'll read this one more paragraph, including more earning potential with USDC. So it says, you can earn even more on your USDC, all while keeping the familiar, easy-to-use Coinbase experience. Like with crypto-backed loans, we are providing an integration with on-chain lending protocol called Protocol Morpho to connect lenders and borrowers on a permissionless basis, all on Base. Once you deposit your USDC, a smart contract will be created by Coinbase to connect to the Morpho protocol via on-chain vaults curated by Steakhouse Financial, where the funds will be allocated across different lending markets to optimize returns and you instantly start earning yield. Your funds are accessible and can be withdrawn at any time when liquidity permits. So it's kind of like this liquidation window, which, if you're currently staking USDC or Ethereum, for instance, that's every day. So in this case, it could be similar suit just because daily rewards are a pretty common thing in the crypto space. So the last thing I'll cover here is more earning potential with USDC. USDC provides a reliable way to hold digital money as a widely accepted and highly liquid digital asset, redeemable one by one with the US dollar. Stability is not the only perk though. Coinbase gives you the chance to earn passive rewards 4.1 APY and up to 4.5 for Coinbase One members while you hold USDC in your account. So it's kind of like this, savings account yield that you see in some banks, which is actually higher. I think Capital One used to be the highest saving account yield, which was closer to 4%, but now it's like 3.65 or something. So it's a small difference, but it can make a big difference when you have more and more money. But at a later post, Brian Armstrong talks about, Canadians. Right now, checking accounts is 0% in Canada, which means you earn 0 interest rate on your money. So from today, all Canadians earn 4.1 uncapped rewards on your USDC Coinbase. So they're barely releasing the lending and, the lending, I'm not sure if it's coming out in Canada yet, but it seems to be coming out in the US for now. But they're extending this interest rate that we just talked about to Canada, which is really cool.
I think the Canadian part and just like that is way more important than anything. If this extends across the world, there's going to be a lot of demand for this. There's so many countries in the world that hold US dollars because they they know that either their currency is very volatile, or they just know that they're going to be able to do like currency arbitrage, where the dollar gets more value compared to their currency, and all of that. Argentina is a place where the hyperinflation happened.
Yep.
Like, there's just so many countries that I think would turn around and go, wait, I can be paid in USDC and just spend it possibly in my home country with some sort of debit card that works anywhere, and no foreign transaction fee possibly, and I'll get way better interest on it. Like, I think that could be huge. I don't know if a bunch of countries will allow this on a regulatory perspective, this like risks other nations' currency, but it is something
Yeah.
very fascinating.
I mean, crypto is so disruptive in its nature, I mean, the US for a while there in the last administration, had a rough time accepting the value that this could bring to the world, which is, hey, if you're from someone either in a high inflationary,
Inflationatory.
that's what I'm
There's a
thinking.
word for it.
Yeah, English is not my background. I'm literally ESL, or English second language. Well, anyways, long story short, crypto enables, access to money, which a lot of countries don't exactly have good access to money. I could talk about this for days, but just alone, crypto lets you get access to money. I mean, we already talked about airdrops, so that's one example. And then, here, through software, you can enable yields. So, I mean, this is why I'm in crypto. It's good to see this coming to other parts of the world. So, we've already spent 30 minutes and we're about halfway done into our stories here. But
And we're gonna have to speed around it.
yeah, we're gonna have to literally blitz it, which I'm gonna try to do here next. This is from Coin Republic, and this headline talks about Coinbase expands base with 3 huge announcements. What does this mean to the coin stock, which is for Coinbase? So this is part of more things they announced. As far as Coinbase goes, coming September 22nd, literally Monday, as a recording of this video, tomorrow, literally, Max 7 plus crypto equity index futures. And the too long didn't read is, on September 22nd, Coinbase Derivatives is expanding its product suite with the launch of equity index futures, introducing Max 7 plus crypto equity index futures, the first to offer combined exposure to both traditional equities and cryptocurrency ETFs. We're diversifying our US derivatives platform beyond single asset offerings for the first time, launching a new equity index product that provides thematic exposure to a wide range of innovation with growth assets. So yeah, I mean, they're expanding their capabilities with their index futures. I think it's pretty cool. I don't really do a lot of perpetuities or derivatives. Derivatives.
I don't, but
Yeah, I mean, if you're into this, this is kind of huge because Coinbase is the most trusted. They did acquisition the platform who would be doing the derivatives. It was I forgot the name, but it was like the biggest one, and the deal was like in the billions. So it was a pretty massive deal, and through this, they're going to enable that. Now, if you ask me, I don't know how that'll work, but if I were to take a guess, you would probably just go to the Coinbase app and do all that from there. So they'll definitely reveal more on that. They might even do a little demo for anyone interested. So that was the other thing they announced, which I think it's a pretty big deal, that they're going to release more assets that you can do index futures with. So now, this is what I think I am the most excited about. And going back to the Coin Republic article here. So last week we had Basecamp, and it's kind of like this little PR event where you had like main people on the Base team kind of announcing and releasing different events, and also having like series of, I'm guessing it's with their team. No, it's with anyone who,
I think it was creators, their team, and just people
yes,
that are really active in the Base network.
yes,
Like,
that's
I saw
exactly what it was.
creators there. I saw people that were friendly to Coinbase. Like, it was just anybody like that's engaged in that platform.
Exactly. So some key insights according to the Coin Republic go, coin stock traders are keeping a close track on Base expansion as it might help boost user involvement and potentially lift future Coinbase earnings. Then Coinbase's Base team is dipping its toes into the idea of a native token which could go up some new ways to generate revenue down the line. And then tokens from Solana are said to become bridgeable to Base, giving users broader access to across ecosystems and smoothing out cross-chain interactions. So what that means is now Base is exploring the idea of releasing their own token, just how MetaMask released its stablecoin and now possibly releasing its own native token as well, which, well, with Base, I understand because it's literally a blockchain. Base is a layer two, and you could use a native token to pay for gas fees, send it itself or as a form of value, even trade on it. There's so many things you can do with a native token on a blockchain, particularly to trade NFTs, trade or swap tokens, you name it. There's a lot you can do. So there's a lot of utility. So honestly, I'm kind of surprised they didn't do it sooner. But that is pretty exciting. So as far as some highlights that happened on Basecamp, this is from Crypto Slate. Coinbase's Base set sights on a 100 billion and 25 billion user in 2025. So what this means is the network seeks to secure 100 billion in on-chain assets, onboard 25,000 developers, and attract 25 million users by the end of the year. So, I mean, the Base app was released like July for beta. I still don't have my beta invite, but I know you do, Leon. So that's pretty cool. Can you tell us anything about the Base app?
Like I'm tripping over my words because it's not as fun as I expected it to be.
Really?
It's kind of like Farcaster. You've got the mini apps, you've got the social feed, but the social feed is from Farcaster. So if you have the Farcaster app, in many ways, Base is pretty similar. The mini apps are great, but like it's not something groundbreakingly new. Like Farcaster was doing this, and it's just there's a lot of overlap on that part. I really think that there's a lot of potential there. I'm not seeing the full picture, like on the social component. Like everyone that's hyping up the social component, it's just Farcaster, on top of there. Now, the sending of USDC, that was a really fun thing. Like I generated the link to you, you claimed the link, and you got $1 like automatically. Yes. There was nothing for you to heavily do. I think that's super cool. I think there's a lot of potential in like the creator rewards and all of that, but like when you go to the app, there's a lot going on, and the social doesn't feel like as a core component of anything right now. It just feels like like everything kind of feels like it was added on and siloed. Though this might just be like my Americanism talking that I've never really liked any of these super apps like Line, WeChat. I don't really love their interfaces over there. Even Uber kind of is doing it with an Uber app and Uber Eats. It's interesting, but I'm not sure if I love it.
It's really interesting because you're speaking from a consumer perspective, but also someone who really just likes the space. So I can see your ideas conflicting, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about execution and practicality. Like if the app is not confusing or cluttered, then I can see it working 9 out of 10 times. Yeah. With super apps, it gets tricky. We don't have a super app unless, if you want to consider the Base app, the newest super app on the US or on the West. So you mentioned that, you could send USDC pretty easy. And you showed me this the other day, and I looked at it and I thought it was really impressive. So I think this is through text. And the demo shows the guy on his iPhone getting a message saying, hey, you claim your USDC. And then it routes him to the Base app, which might be on the beta version. He authenticates, says, hey, I'm going to accept this, authenticates, and then he receives it. Now he still needs to download the Base app, which he didn't even have, which I think is really cool. You don't even need to have a Base app in order to accept your money. Now, we don't see more than that, but I think that onboarding sort of thing was really cool. It's like saying, hey, mom, here's $100 in USDC. Now redeem it. Kind of shows you how to redeem it, I assume, once you download the Base app. But that was very seamless. It was really cool. I like the UI and everything in there.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. It's kind of like Apple Pay. USDC, I think, is going to kind of become a core component of the internet faster and faster. Like, if I can just go pay and it's just sitting in a crypto wallet, like that's amazing. I heard somebody the other day tell me this is USDC kind of feels like cash because you
Yeah.
might have it in a big bank,
Yep.
but in reality, it's probably on your phone. It's probably in a wallet on your browser. Like it's a lot more like cash. And the MetaMask wallet might be like more like a bank, but you've got other applications where it's much different and it's more like a piggy bank or your wallet that you're holding that you have to kind of take cash out or transfer it. So I'm excited to kind of see this first iteration become more integrated. Like Google adopted it. Like they're talking about adopting these protocols. They're using like Sui and some other
Yes.
network to kind of do it. But more and more, it's becoming like, hey, maybe micropayments will become a thing. Like when I'm on Zora, if you like something, you actually buy it like 20 cents or 30 cents, whatever it is. And that's your way to show support and everything. So it's kind of the first step to like a more of what the internet was supposed to be when it first started.
Yeah, that makes sense. I haven't used Zora enough, if I'm being honest. I use more Farcaster than anything for my on-chain social. I mean, I should go back into it. I think Zora has a really cool UI, and if they're doing new things, I think that'd be fun to explore.
Yes.
So people here in the comments are either sold on it, some aren't sold. Like Just Chief said, nah, only if it goes to Apple Pay or something that you got motion. And then Bobby Thacker says, this is totally useless. The app clip is just an ad. You can send it to a real wallet if you have one, and you have to download the full app to do anything else. Haven't even touched on ramping. I'm new on Base. This is from Sumit. I'm new on Base, don't know any features yet, but sometimes I can't post anything. It's some kind of error. So Wizard says based as fuck. So a bit of mixed features here, mixed feelings, but I think, a lot of what they have right now is breaking because it's still on beta. So it'll be a matter of time until it's released. So that'll be cool to explore.
Yeah, and I like that they're iterating in real life, and just like
Yeah.
that Meta AI glasses demo, which just kind of failed in the end. I'd rather see real life demos than just kind of fake, like produced stuff. Like
Yes.
it becomes too AI. If you saw Apple, everybody was
Apples.
like, yeah, like literally the 6
Yeah,
7,
with the hand
and
gestures.
yeah, it just becomes so robotic. So I'd rather see
Yeah.
like real life testing and kind of iterating, and I think that's more of the ethos of the internet too. And startups is just kind of like you're moving fast, like things don't always work, and it's okay. Just like a human on stage is going to make mistakes, an application is going to get miscoded, or something's just not going to work, and it's a fringe case that becomes a normal.
Yeah, I mean, literally. I actually did like the Meta's, latest press, and this is similar fashion of what they're doing here on Base for Basecamp. I like that. I think it's authentic. I like the all visuals that Apple does. Just as a side note here, I really like the Apple's presentation visuals and camera angles, but everyone doing the same fucking hand motion is so stupid. I think it's so boring. So, anyways, so this is from Basecamp actually, and this is Jesse Pollack talking about an announcement where a new bridge between Base and Solana. For a better global economy to work, it needs to be interoperable and connected, not isolated and closed.
And to help make this vision a reality, I'm really excited that today we're launching a new bridge between Base and Solana.
So
I'm so excited about this. I'm so excited about this. And it's built for developers. The goal of this bridge is to make it so you can build seamlessly across both Base and Solana with Sol, with ERC20s, and with SPL tokens. It lets you do three things. First, you can deposit and use Sol in any Base app. So if you're a developer building an app, you're just gonna be able to use Sol. You're gonna be able to bring over those balances and have it just work. Second, you can be able to import any Solana token into your Base app. So you can build on the economy that's growing there, help creators, do whatever you want seamlessly across the two ecosystems. And then third, you can be able to take Base tokens that you created and export them to Solana. So you can tap into the liquidity there. And this means for builders and creators, you get access to more users, more liquidity, more tools to build. And for users, it means it's just gonna work. The experiences that developers are gonna build are gonna take away the complexity. They make it dead simple. This bridge is now live on testnet, and integration is going on. We have incredible teams like Aerodrome and Zora and Virtual who are already starting to use this bridge today to make the best things happen between Solana and Base. And we want everyone else to use it too. So if you're interested in building on it as a developer, you can go to github.com/base/bridge. We're gonna be around all Basecamp to help you get started. And we think this is a really, really powerful tool to help connect the Base and Solana ecosystem.
So that was Jesse saying how, yeah, you're going to be able to do all these cool things now in Solana and Base just by using their GitHub repo, which if you're watching this on YouTube, then we'll leave the link on the description below where you can access the post here. In that same post, you should be able to see the same link to access the GitHub repo. So it's pretty cool how it's available on testnet. For those of you who don't know, testnet's kind of like the developing or staging environment for building an app or building stuff. So it's pretty cool. All right, so we're almost done here. I know we still have quite a bit, but this is where I think it's exciting. So Base, and this is from Cointelegraph, Base teases the launch of a native token at Basecamp 2025. So at Basecamp, Coinbase's layer 2 network, which is Base, said it's waiting a token launch to boost decentralization while unveiling a Solana bridge to expand cross-chain interoperability. So it must have happened not long after that announcement on bridging, which is kind of funny. So Base may soon launch a native token, creator Jesse Pollak said at the Basecamp event. According to Base, the new token could support decentralization and expand opportunities for builders and creators. We're in the early phases of our exploration and don't have any specifics to share around timing, design, or governance, the network said Monday. Base is a layer 2 blockchain built on Ethereum and incubated by Coinbase. It processes transactions off-chain before settling them on Ethereum. So it's actually cool how Base works. It's actually, I don't think there's any other network that does that where it validates the transactions off-chain. It launched in 2023. The network has become the most widely used Ethereum layer 2 blockchain, with data from Token Terminal showing about 20.8 million monthly active addresses over the past 12 months. Base is literally becoming the most popular layer 2 on Ethereum, which is really interesting. I thought it would have been, well, I think for a while it was Polygon or Arbitrum. I know their developer base is getting pushed right now. Like Arbitrum is pushing in liquidity to developers. Yeah. But, you know, it's really cool to see Base doing all these cool things and seemingly being the #1 most active network on Ethereum. Cool stuff. We'll see what happens with this token. They haven't said any specific things about it. You can read this article. We'll leave it in the description on YouTube as well. This is from coinfomania.com. It says, Brian Armstrong fuels creator coin boom on Base. So this is where another announcement was made, and this is kind of the last one for Coinbase this week, where it says Zora is going to be integrated on Base to some capacity, and this is from Coinfomania saying Brian Armstrong fuels creator coin boom on Base. Brian Armstrong's Balagis token fuels creator coin momentum on Base as Coinbase app integration with Zora drives adoption. So I haven't used Zora as much, but I think it does this cool thing where you can mint creator coins and have your own creator coin, which funny enough, I think we first saw this with DeSo, which is short for decentralized social, as a layer 1 blockchain. They had this issue with the SEC like summer last year, and that kind of pushed them off the grid because they've been dealing with the SEC now. So who knows? Let's see how Zora integrates it into Base. I think that'll be really cool. Anyways, this article continues. Brian Armstrong's decision to buy nearly 5 million Balagis token on Base instantly shifted the spotlight onto creator coin projects. The purchase was only about $40,000, but the influence of Coinbase's CEO carries far more weight than the transaction size. By posting the screenshot publicly, he turned what could have been a quiet trade into a signal that many interpreted as institutional endorsement. In markets like this, narrative often matters as much as capital, which it's very true. I mean, imagine if you had A16C investing, or not even investing like $1 million checks, but like just $40,000 into someone's creator coin. A16C is the biggest VC firm in crypto. That's why I make that reference. That'd be huge. Anyways, so one more thing I'll say here is Balagis token and Coinbase's ecosystem push. The Balagis token itself is tied with Balaji Srinivasan's personal brand and distributed through Zora, which has been driving much of the recent growth on Base. What stands out is not just the token, but how Coinbase is leaning into the ecosystem. Jesse Pollak's announcement that creator coins from Zora can be brought directly into the Coinbase app changes accessibility. It lowers friction and makes social finance feel less like an experiment from insiders and more like a product that millions of crypto users could interact with easily. One more thing I'll mention here is kind of like how it works. Base's numbers suggest this shift is real. Since July's launch of Coinbase app, Zora has facilitated over 1.6 million creator coins minted, almost 3 million unique traders, and more than 470 million in trading volume. On July 16th, there were 7,557 token launches on Base. The day after app integration, that number jumped to over 22,000. That's not a coincidence, it's a sign of how disruptive channels directly influence adoption. The design of Zora's system explains part of the momentum. Every post generates a token. Each creator coin has a fixed supply of 1 billion, half of which streams to creators over 5 years, while the rest floats to the market. A small fee from each trade flow back to the original creator in Zora tokens. In simple terms, the attention turns into tradable assets and engagement becomes income. That's a very different model from an ad-driven platform where creators fight algorithms for visibility. And you can read more of it if you'd like. I mean, that's kind of like the inherent value of creator coins, which you and I have talked about before, Leon, with WebC, what it once was. We were on the DSO ecosystem. Now we're, building something entirely different. I mean, it'd be cool to see. I mean, I think it's in the realm of possibility to add creator coins, trending creator coins on social market, which is kind of like where the name came from originally, social market, where we combine creator coin or creator economy on the blockchain. Kind of a
Yeah, I'm really
little
interested to
hint
see
there.
it because creator coins have been a discussion from the start of crypto. Like, how do you pay creators? How do you compensate? Base, I think, has a system to do it. I think Zora did it well, but also I think there needs to be that flashpoint moment that everyone's like, oh yeah, I can adopt it. Like Twitter, X, Elon did it with the X. He was able to get people to pay for social media. Meta's now rolling out verification. They're rolling out all this stuff. Like the true creators are really adopting it. You've got a Facebook, you got Instagram verification now. LinkedIn has always had that built in. Like there's a huge opportunity to figure this out with Web3. It just has not been done. And if Coinbase can get closer and closer to that, I think that there's a huge opportunity because I think right now the big gap is how do some people get money? Like I think if everybody's getting money, it incentivizes the people to create. But if like a small portion of people only get money and everybody's just funneling money in there all the time, I don't think on the long run anybody's going to be happy with that. Like there needs to be a path where if your comment gets a ton of engagement, you get money too. If your profile is engaging and doing things, like it can get money as part of the fund because it's helping the community be helpful. Like I think there needs to be a distribution of that to encourage people to kind of keep adding money and keep funding this whole
Yep.
system.
Yeah, I agree. Right now, creators on YouTube or anywhere on the internet, they rely on the platform giving them a sizable amount of their income. But when the income isn't there because of whatever reason, then people set up their Patreon and they rely on small dollar donations from their fans, which is usually, kind of like a very popular thing to do. And if you're a streamer on Twitch, you have people subscribe to you, which you don't get ads, and you kind of get other perks from the streamer. It's all very personalized. I can easily see this transitioning into crypto. And crypto is kind of just the whole purpose of it is to make money more accessible, make it easier to use. I can see this playing out very well in the next decade or so. So I'm pretty excited. And I think Coinbase is doing a great job so far at kind of putting a spotlight into this because people don't know better. People are kind of like, oh, it's crypto is the boogeyman, or oh, I just don't understand this. And then they'll disregard it. But when they see big players like Coinbase putting a spotlight into it, pushing efforts, then yeah, I mean, this is a lot more realistic for most people.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited to see what happens. We'll keep you guys updated. We have one more story here to talk about, and it's not as long as Coinbase, but this is from Robinhood, where they launched Robinhood Ventures. Now, Robinhood has been doing a lot in the last month, actually, where they had their, like, I don't know what it was called. I don't know if you know it, Leon, but they had their kind of like events. In fact, a lot of companies had their event where they announced a bunch of products, and Robinhood
Just
was
their
one of them.
Yeah, it's like I forget what Robinhood called it, but they
Like
did
Summit
something like
something.
Insiders or something.
Yeah.
Like all of these companies are doing some sort of special event to announce new products and updates.
Yeah. So while this this event of theirs happened a few weeks ago. This was released this last week. This is from Amit from Twitter, and he says, breaking, Robinhood announces that they have filed with the SEC to launch Robinhood Ventures Fund, RVI, a concentrated portfolio of innovative private companies leading their industries. Well, folks, it looks like Robinhood is going to IPO a fund that allows retail to invest into the best private companies. For decades, wealthy people and institutions have invested in private companies while retail investors have been unfairly locked out. With Robinhood Ventures, everyday people will be able to invest in opportunities once reserved for the elite, said Robinhood Chairman and CEO Vlad Tenev. Robinhood is not stopping. Let's fucking go. Which, yeah, I think that's amazing. I think the closest model we have to that for retail investors is if you have enough capital, you might be considered an angel investor. You can join an angel group and you can put your money with others into like a liquidity pool. And then that liquidity pool gets spread out into different companies as a form of investment. I know that's how Alamo Angels from San Antonio operates, essentially.
Yeah.
Which I know you have more experience on that.
Yeah. Also, I think this is kind of like part of their IPO product more than anything. Like,
Okay.
this is kind of how I understood it more than like a Alamo Angels or like an angel investing pool. Is
Yep.
This was going to be like an IPO thing, because when you go and they have those pre-selected IPOs, like Gemini was a pre-selected IPO in there, I believe.
Yes.
I forget the previous one. You have to request to allocate shares, and a lot of times Robinhood users are all requesting it. And even if you request 50 or 100 shares, you might only get one or two. Like I've done a few IPOs where I've gotten 3 or 4 and I've asked for much, much more shares on them. I think that's part of it, is to help them like stabilize that thing and then give Robinhood users early like IPO access and guarantee it, because there's so many allocated shares. And then also
Yes.
for them to like really capitalize on those investments and push it. And then I also do think that there's a component of like angel investing that they want to do it, but they're looking as like a VC where step one is get them to 1 point, and then step two is get them to IPO so that there's value for their platform. Because if you could IPO and there's exclusive pricing for one of these stocks and only Robinhood has it, like why wouldn't you use Robinhood over anything else?
I mean, I was watching this video last week about Robinhood just kind of changing the status quo as far as the financial world goes. You know, before, this is just a very small example. Like, essentially, Robinhood started by trading stocks, and you could get free stocks. And before that, you would have to go to a broker, and you have to pay like at least $10 or some large sum of that just to make one single purchase of a stock, which would disincentivize people buying like maybe a few dollars worth of stocks just to play the waters. They would often have to put $100 or maybe even more than that just to make fair value of their investment. Because if they put $100, then 10% of that goes into the broker, which they would just make a shitload of money through that. So Robinhood comes here and says, nah, screw all that. And then they release the stock broker app, and you can trade with as little as $1, or I think $5 is the minimum cap or something. But the point is it changed the narrative for stock brokers, and the larger firms had to follow suit because they weren't getting any clientele. So now, for Robinhood Ventures, I can see this happening all over again, especially for like the large investment pools like Alamo Angels or angel investors sort of thing. I don't know how that will turn out, but I think it'll be very interesting to see. So, this is from Robinhood Ventures. This is from Newsroom. They kind of talk about everything that we just talked about. A cool point here was the number of publicly traded companies in the U.S. has fallen from 7,000 in the year 2000 to about 4,000 in 2024, shrinking the number of investable opportunities for retail traders. At the same time, private companies are growing in the number and value, with the estimated value of these firms in the U.S. now surpassing $10 trillion. Robinhood Ventures fund RVI aims to expand the access to important and often closed off part of the market. Robinhood is really cool. I would probably buy their stock more now, seeing how they're doing this. I think it's a huge opportunity for them. they're gonna probably get a lot of money from that, like from retail investors. So that'd be cool to see. That'd be cool to see. I know this is not a crypto related story, but Robinhood does have crypto, and I can see this also expanding into crypto to some capacity for at least crypto based companies like Gemini. So
Yeah, I think if there's opportunity to IPO, those will go forward. So I think they're going to be more traditional, like exchanges and stuff there, or companies with crypto like backing of some capacity, but not full like crypto companies at the moment until IPOs can really be fleshed out as full on like companies.
yeah, absolutely. So I'm excited. Like I'm actually really excited for this. You know, people getting capital. So like accessing these IPOs and off door, closed door opportunities that retail investors don't get. So I'm pretty excited for that. Now, I think that's pretty much everything that we had covered here today at Social Market. I'm sorry, at Social Ledger Report. So do you have any other thoughts, Leon, for today?
You know, if you want to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, super helpful. If not, leave a comment on YouTube, subscribe, like all those good things.
Yeah, let us know what you think. If you'd like for us to cover anything new, let us know as well. We are happy to listen to your suggestions. But yeah, this has been Social Ledger Report. Thanks for watching.